Hello everybody and welcome to Work Against the Grain. My name is Jeff. This is part 3 of the bar stool build, the back. I finally did some design preparation and figured out what we're going to do on the back. We actually used the CNC machine to engrave one of my wife's favorite sayings, live, laugh, love, across the 3 bar stools. So here you'll see the glue up, the milling of the stock, the CNC work, and then of course the final assembly for this part 3 of the bar stools. Okay, as with most projects that you're doing a glue up, in this case we're going to glue up the panels for the backs of the bar stools, and typically when you're doing a glue up you want to joint your edges so that you get a nice, really nice solid glue joint. And so here I'm going to joint the one edge, and I'm not showing you the table saw, but then I trimmed the other edge to get a 2 parallel sides, if you will, on the board with the table saw, but we showed the table saw in the previous video. And so you just want to make sure that you've got a really nice square edge. And then I'm going to use biscuits. There's many types, many ways out there that you can put the 2 boards together. I'm choosing to use biscuits here, and so lining up the mark here with the biscuit maker. And this was a little tough for me because I'm trying to get it on camera. Normally I stand on the right hand side, and in this particular case I'm coming from the left. And you just want to get that red line there in the middle of the board. There's a line on the other side of the machine that you can't see here. And then of course the lines that I marked on the top of the board, you align that in the middle there with the biscuit cutter, if you will. And you plunge into the wood, and it leaves you a nice groove in which to put your biscuits, as you see there. Then you get your Bessie clamps, you get your jointed wood and your biscuit cut wood and your glue, and it's time for the glue up. And so here I'm going to spread glue on all of the edges that touch the mating surfaces. Then we're going to put the biscuits in, and we're going to end up with a panel. Have a look, and I'll be back to you in just a little bit. All right, and then fast forward after the glue has dried. The wood had been planed, and so after I jointed it, the edges went together very well. And I just wanted to make a quick sanding here with the belt sander, just making sure those joints are absolutely perfect and there's not a high spot. It turned out these were very good, so there wasn't a whole lot of belt sanding to do here. Then after the belt sanding, before I go to the CNC machine, or before I cut the pattern that I'll show you in a little bit, I want to make sure that I get most of the sanding. Certainly not to finish capacity, but I want to take care of most of the sanding. And so I start here, as I said, with the belt sander, and then move over to my Festool. I don't know how many of you use a Festool sander, but I have to tell you, somebody said, hey Jeff, if you buy a Festool you won't believe the sanding, and I have to tell you, it is absolutely amazing. I was using a little 5-inch DeWalt for years, but this Festool, the way that it sands is just, it's effortless, for lack of a better word. Absolutely, it's probably the best piece of equipment I have in my shop. I absolutely love this sander. Just does a magnificent job. And as you can probably see here, I mean, it's just absolutely effortless. But being one guy, I got to go back and forth and turn the camera on and off. So luckily it kind of sands on its own here. So all right, and then I had a pattern. I made a pattern out of some 1/4-inch MDF that I want the bar stool backs to look like. So I double-sided tape, learned the trick from my father. Double-sided tape will stick anything to anything. He does a lot of bowl turning and actually uses double-sided tape to hold his bowl blanks to his face plates. But here I'm using the double-sided tape to hold the pattern onto the glue ups that we did. Now, what I forgot to show you, and it's after I noticed it after I edited the video. After I did the cutout, as you see here, I took it to the router and used a flush trim bit to flush trim it to the pattern, and then used a 1/2-inch rounding over bit to round over the edges. I apologize for not including that. I should have. Because it's a pretty important step. I'll show you guys some more pattern cutting on another video down the road, but the flush trim bit did a great job. And then onto the CNC machine, cut me a little live, laugh, love cutouts for the backs. You'll see the completed stuff. I didn't know how much CNC stuff to put into the video, so I probably got, I don't know, 3-4 minutes here. Some close-ups here of the bit doing the cutting, and I don't know. I never really know how much of what to include, and I could watch this machine go back and forth all day, but maybe, I don't know, maybe it's boring for you. And so this was the roughing cut. Then you'll see the finish cut, and then I'll be back to talk to you. Thanks for watching. Work against the grain. My name is Jeff. As some of you may have picked up, me being a beginner woodworker myself, something that I did not calculate that you see here. See that white coming through there on the walnut? Well, let me tell you, when you put 3 boards together and you use biscuits that are about 1/4 inch down from the top, and then you're doing a relief cut with the CNC machine to create your graphic or your pattern or whatever, you end up cutting into the biscuits. And it was an absolute learning process, an absolute gotcha. It never even occurred to me. You can see the little white coming through, and you'll see it on the next video when the finishing cut is just about done on the live back, if you will. And I never even considered that was going to take place. So it was a huge learning process for me. So be careful with that. I'll know the next time, but as I said, I'm a beginner like many of you may be, and this was definitely a learning process. You can see them really good there, the biscuits coming through, and I ended up using some really dark walnut stain, and they looked okay, but certainly not as good as they would have looked without them there. Anyway, I wanted to point that out. That's the live. The laugh and the love came out just as good as that one did. Looked really great. Thanks again for watching, guys. So, what'd you think? The bar stools are all set. A little bit tougher than I thought when I first set out on the project, but it all came together pretty good. I'd like to thank my wife Tony for doing all of the upholstery work. The CNC work turned out great, very happy with that. The finish is just amazing, and I really want to thank you guys for stopping by and sharing this project with me. So until next time, thanks again for watching. Work against the grain, and my name is Jeff. I'm not really good with the Photoshop. The videos are getting better. Photoshop I'm still kind of learning, but I wanted to put a couple of pictures here that shows the front and the back. I put some oil on the back of them so it would highlight what we did with the CNC that you'll see in the next slide there. And the wood was just so thirsty, you can see some light spots there where it sucked it up. But I'll get better with the Photoshop. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time.